You're going to have a Nautilus casting Nautilus ult on you. It's like Guma does not get to play.
And that's the big problem for T1 here. You see how much dive there is from G2. I love the fact they've decided to go for this all-in composition. It's taking the fight to T1.
Invade there.
Oh, Mickey. Kerry is there. Mickey tries to dredge line away. The charm moves him in place. And I don't think Mickey needs to burn the flash here. He knows he's done for. Burst
really
blood.
Nice job here in the early stages from Yike. He gets the top crab, immediately move bot, gets bot one, covers there on the mid play for Caps 2. And now you're in a position where you've a bit of a nice 8 CS lead for yourself.
Zenith played in. Kerry's going to have to flash away. Hans Summer. One more adoration for Hans Summer.
Top side, Broken Blade wants to try and push a little bit first.
I mean, Zeus has flash, has the explosive cast. Hans has both his summoners as well, but Hans Summer continues to put axes into the back of Zeus. The cleanse away from Hans, flashes forward. Zeus flashes away, will get the slow with the cask. Hans now in the middle of the minions, doesn't have a ward to place. Zeus can open up and Zeus finds it. A solo kill for the Gragas. Meanwhile, in the top lane, a hook's gonna land onto Ona. Broken Blade looking for the stun, root goes down. As Yike Mickey.
Nice little punish there, but G2 still going to get those top side grubs.
I think the important 80 carry.
I think the play on towards the top side though really helped out G2 obviously because they do force T1 away, which then gives them void growth. Yeah, G2 spotting that carry was up there. Broken Blade now trying to force Owner away, but I think it's more of a
Barney. They're looking for a fight here. Mickey looking for that hook. Owner stepping forward, eats an axe. Caps and Mickey standing around the side. Caps low mana. They go into Carrier. Paranoia. There's the shockwave as well. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, Broken Blade's going to look to try and keep Zeus around one already over as Yike kills off Carrier. Owner's killed Caps though. And now Yike has to run from Faker and Gumayushi. Owner so low in the pit. He gets two. Hans Summer will answer with one. Cleanses away, but he's not going to be able to get too much more here. He can get a second. Gumayushi able to win out the fight in the end. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, much ado about
suppression coming through from the Skarner, locking up two members of G2, making sure that Caps couldn't have any real follow-up damage. Yike ends up going so far to finish off the initial kill onto Carrier, then he can be focused down by Faker and Gumayushi, and Mickey is just trying his damnedest to help out Hans to a little bit.
So TPing away from bot as well. Broken Blade giving up the ghost on that tower. Zeus going to get hooked in here. Still has the explosive cast and the flash. It's more Mickey acting as a distraction as G2 try and rattle their way through this tower. They'll take the second turret of the game, and they continue to push forward here. 5 grubs helping them out quite a lot in taking these towers quickly.
Yeah, and the price, of course, that they are going to pay is not only the push on the opposite side, but the Dragon #2 here for T1, which Owner's able to clean up. Faker does not have teleport.
Already used. Zeus caught out with a counter-strike, though, and Zeus is met with the whirling death. The curtains open. Hans Summer's winning for G2. T1 do have those 2 Drakes in their pocket. As Owner secures the Rift Herald as well. There's a possibility of a dive. It does not work out for DK yesterday. We'll see if T1 have a better affair as there's to suppress immediately. They lock them in. The shockwave coming out as well as Broken Blade tries to survive. The tower will dive, but Caps is low. Faker diving forward with the paranoia on him, and Mickey's going to be the first to pull G2. All hail the retreat. Trying to get the hell out of here because T1 are hungry for blood. Faker will find another as T1 find 2 in the bot lane die.
On his win rate with this champion, with how he's playing, he's just been
TP behind. Faker doesn't have flash, doesn't have Spirit Rush. Carrier's going to try and keep Caps busy. The top lane and takes another tower.
I think the next thing you have to look to for G2 is you're really worried about your... You can get one more level. You actually get a nice range boost on your ultimate, but...
Solar Flare. Yike puts up the shroud. In goes the stinger, and down onto the backline goes Yike. Looking for that paranoia. Mickey knocked in as well. Gumayushi has to flash away. The whirling death coming out from Hans Summer. And Faker's on the flank. Carrier chased out by Broken Blade. There'll be one. Faker trying to get onto Hans Summer as well. Lands the charm. Owner's there to help. The cleanse from Hans is not enough. And now it's a 3v4. T1 advancing again. Gumayushi was able to escape. Faker has another Spirit Rush. The charm goes wide. Yike and Caps alongside Broken Blade able to keep on to their lives right now. Zeus, though, can look for more. Broken Blade stepping forward into the darkness. Rift Herald pushed in the mid lane. That's going to take the tower. And it's only a Chem Drake. The T1 really care too much about it. G2 realize they can't fight around it anymore, and they'll back towards the bot lane.
The cask again from Zeus, splitting up that fight perfectly in favor of T1. It looked a little dicey for Gumayushi as they had to flash over the wall, but T1, these team fights consistently going their way.
And this one is a very burst heavy, but it's also very far ahead. Oh, never mind.
Into the shockwave, they look for Gumayushi. He doesn't have the flash, and they will find him. Another hook's going to land onto Owner as the chase continues. Zeus coming in with the explosive cast, though, and G2 have to be careful because TP coming in from Faker. Mickey dodges away from the explosive cast, pulls Carrier in. The charm goes wide on Summer. Still cleanses just in case.
So that Nocturne Orianna combo.
Solar Flare onto Caps. Faker going in with the charm, only hits onto Mickey. Cut and Call coming out as well. There's the Impale, and Mickey's just dragged in a double counter-strike into the Shockwave though, and Faker is down. Explosive Cast will separate Caps and Hansama from the fight. Zeus on that front line, 3 items strong, and he's trying to use them to their full effect. Ona down to about half HP, Zeus low as well. Hansama trying to open up on Gumayushi, who still has
The damage to fight this.
G2 with no ultimates. Broken Blade dashing in here, jumping across that wall. Ona they're trying to smite the Drake, would be soul for them. Counter-strike from Broken Blade. Here comes Zeus. Flash, Zenith Blade. They look for the engage onto Hansama, who has to flash away himself. Caps is down to half HP. Broken Blade jumps across the pit. And now Mickey's here to bolster the defenses. Faker on his way back doesn't have the teleport. The Drake secured Chem Soul. Now for T1, G2 begin to back away from the fight, realize they don't really want any more of this action. Yike slowed up though, a hook goes down, only onto Ona. Caps knocked back! Zeus finds him! And now Yike's running for the hills, locked up with a captive audience. Yike down 2, it's a Baron. Broken Blade looking for the flank, no flash on him, but does have that Grandmaster's Might. Mickey looking for the engage, but realizes pretty sharpish that he can't go for it. Still charmed up, Spear Rush forward by Faker. There's the curtain calls as well, and it's curtains for Mickey. Carrier takes him. And T1 take the Baron. They are in firm control of the game as Hansama's overstepped 2. Hansama's down 2. T1 6k ahead, a soul, a Baron, and maybe more of his Broken Blade's charmed. And T1 continue to collapse. The jump away from Broken Blade will keep them safe for a moment, but T1 are knocking on the door.
Dude, Zeus is just the GOAT.
He's MVP, holy moly.
He is such a playmaker. You think of the God of Lightning with him, but, you know, God of the Kegs in this game. Really, really impressive. Game number 1 here so far for T1, and after the Baron push, already taking
to engage. They did have a little bit of vision. A TP coming in. Zeus will be the one on the front line, Faker will be the one on the back, but Zeus immediately locked up. You can see how much damage he can tank. Faker going in with the charm, it goes wide. Zeus almost falls to the whirling, he's alive, and he still has the locket. Faker dodges away from the hook, Zeus going back in, and there's your contribution. Mickey falls, the shockwave from Caps. All it can do is buy him a second to wait. The flash charm from Faker. It's all done, it's all over, but the Nexus falling. T1 are gonna go 1-0 up.
Zeus can do no wrong. TP's in to what should have been his death, but instead it's T1 killing G2 and taking game number 1.
T1 may have limped through summer, but this is Worlds, and they are here to stay.
Broken Blade and Yike trying to do anything, but they still have the Impale, the suppression afterwards with the Edge of Ishtar, the chase onto Yike, the explosive cask, and as you say, Zeus godly with his placements today. The Nexus towers fall, and T1 will go 1 game away from Paris and quarterfinals. Mickey gets a kill.
Worth. Nexus for.
That's what Mickey was using a lot of the time.
And this is just so all-in dive. It is so threatening. Again, even in Champ Select previously, we're like, wow, it's probably going to be very hard for Guma to
burn that flash, but Mickey.
Oh, Faker goes in with the Spear Rush, the charm landing as well, and Mickey is done for. First blood in the first 2 games. Mickey dies, Ona takes the kill.
Those next round of Void Grubs.
It's interesting because Broken Blade doesn't have teleport, but Owner's actually heading towards Broken Blade rather than the Void Grubs.
Yeah, he's looking for this play down towards the bottom side. Broken Blade flashes immediately met with a fist in his face. Broken Blade trying to get away from this. Obviously, has to try and escape from Ona, who flashes forward. Another Vault Breaker. Broken Blade trying to dodge it. Ona holds it forever. Ona finds another as Broken Blade can't escape his clutches.
There was no escape there. Owner waiting over the wall. Broken Blade tried to sidestep it, but good call from Owner, just hold on. But still on the opposite side, Void Grubs galore. And it will be, I imagine Zeus starting to put a bit of pressure here to answer for some of the third places. Faker, no way he catches Mickey again.
You put everyone on pause when you said that. Everyone's like...
Oh, Mickey looking for the hook here. So Yike can come in with the paranoia. There's the depth charge as well. The chase forward. Kerry has joined his mid laner. Faker flashes away. The ignite ticking on him won't be enough. There's the stun into the shield of the Wraith. Daybreak into the solar flare into the death of Yike.
To kill Mickey. Now it's kind of the reverse situation, and Faker did get that little, sight of Mickey. So good vision toggle by the observers.
And then the engage comes through from Mickey, and it's a nice setup. Carry here to try and help, but oh, bot side.
Oh, Zeus flashes away. He's hit with a house. And Caps and Broken Blade find a kill. Carrier's looking to collapse here as well as Gumayushi, but this tower is already quite low, down to One plate remaining on it. Carrier going in with the Zenith Blade. Gumayushi there with the Deadly Flourish as well. Broken Blade still pretty tanky though. Yikes here to join the fray. Has the Paranoia. Can't go into Guma, but there's a flash and a barrier on that AD carry, making it a little bit more suspect to go for the dive. Mickey and Hansama are starting to collapse, and this will be first tower over to G2.
Faker even dropped off that top tower, trying to move down to this. Go back and forth thanks to these plays.
Still, I think it's a hugely beneficial kind of response from G2.
Because will he escape? You can see it on the minimap. The Counter-Strike finds him alongside the cease and desist, and Broken Blade doesn't have a hope in hell of escaping this one. Zeus leaps on his face and takes another 4-1 now to T1.
It's interesting that they have such a bounty on Broken Blade's head, it feels like. Not in a literal sense, but they've got a target on his back. T1 keep on going for these assassination attempts onto Broken Blade. It's almost like when they gave up the 6 grubs, they were saying, you are not going to have a split pusher that can use these. We're going to make sure of it, because while we did give up the 6 grub buff, you know, we killed Broken Blade when we did that, and then we're going to keep looking for kills on him and try and really put that Gnar behind, to the point that Zeus is going to be able to control side lanes. Faker is going to be able to
Another
get
charm
hits.
hits once again. Mickey thought he was safe in his own jungle, but there is nowhere safe from T1. And this is the moment in the game, in game 1, where we saw T1 begin to explode it away from G2's grasp. You can see already 2,500 gold ahead. Now with the Rift Herald charging through mid, they're going to open up the map and make it so much more tricky for G2 to do anything. Charm wide there by Faker, but he's just creating space. The Solar Flare hits. Hansama has to burn the cleanse, and Zeus is on the flank. The counter-strike, Hansama flashes it. Rift Herald charge forward. Zona can jump across that wall and look for Hansama. Yike with a fear, only onto Zeus. They're looking for the damage. The Shockwave will find him. Hansama surviving up towards the top side for as long as he can in the face of Ona, but now he's down and Carrier's down alongside him. G2 find 2. They lose their mid-tier 1. Can they find any?
That you need to try and leverage yourself back into this game. You have the Nocturne delivery. We'll see if they're able to make something. It won't be now, because of course they're splitting and trying to grab tower first.
I think it still will be a little tough for G2 though, because Caps has gone for this more defensive build. Up and in towards the Zhonya's first means he doesn't really have that big firepower. I think it's the correct way to go, because there's a lot of threat here with the dive from
the flash. Caps goes one way, Zeus goes the other. Now he tracks back, knowing that Caps is there. The Paranoia coming out as Mickey and Yike look to collapse. The flash away from the shockwave from Zeus is gorgeous. And once again,
they definitely have some really good looks here.
BB's just finished his Mega now and he's gone in.
He still gets the Gnar into the wall. The backline, Gumayushi flashes away. The Shockwave, I think, maybe a little bit early there as Broken Blade is forced low. Spirit Rush forward by Faker as T1 begin to collapse. And Mickey's burst on the menu again. Faker with a Spirit Rush across the wall. Sure, the G2 hadn't snuck towards the Baron to try and take that away, while T1 were getting themselves to 2 dragons in this game.
Timing really has been the biggest advantage for T1. I feel like not only the defensive
push in mid, catching out G2, and now G2 trying to move in mid, but they could get collapsed on from behind.
There's a pincer movement brewing here.
teleport.
See the TP behind that.
Faker.
Faker. Counter TP being used by Broken Blade. Curtain Call coming in as the stopwatch is used. Dion onto the backline, jumps Gumayushi, a good shockwave as well onto Zeus. And now we see Hansama having to try and get away from this. Ona going in as he puts the damage down onto Caps. Ona flashing away. Zeus the same. The killer instinct from Hansama gets Zeus in response. Now Faker diving around the fight. A hook coming out. Broken Blade trying to get into the Mega Gnar. He'll jump on their heads. Gooba stopped them. Faker escaping. Carrier slammed into the wall. On the top side, Yike killed off Gumayushi. And G2 somehow find a fight.
Only Faker gets out alive. G2 are going to get some extra money with the tower mid, and Faker just barely does so. Broken Blade hunting for him, but he's not going to find the hiding spot.
I love the not using the shockwave, but immediately they do. Paranoia in, Faker down, Solar Flare onto the backline as well. We see Hansama falling for it. Mickey trying to get into this fight. Broken Blade on his way across as well. Carrier, Ona there as well with Gumayushi trying to get away. Doesn't have the flash. Ona doesn't. Carrier goes back in with the Zenith Blade. He's a sacrifice. A sacrificial lamb for G2. As there's 2 more on the board.
Or are they going to try and get control of the mid wave first?
Mickey looking for the hook. There's the charm. Deadly Flash going in. Ona looking for that back line. The Solar Flare hits 2. Paranoia coming out. Ona can't go in with the engage. Zeus now locked out. Pops the stopwatch to buy himself a little bit of time. He's feared though. The shockwave hits onto Ona as he looks for the engage. Goes in with the cease and desist. The Guardian Angel still sitting on Ona's shoulders. Will bring him back to life. Broken Blade with a good double Gnar into the wall. Ona trying to get back in with that shield from the Vault Breaker. But he will fall. Baker can't escape Broken Blade. Gumayushi now trying to dance his way away. But the eyes are on Carrier for G2. They're looking for one more. Gumayushi will have the fleet, will have the move speed from this Jhin. Broken Blade chucks a house out, can't quite land it onto Guma's back. Caps with the dissonance, there's the slow from the red buff. They dodge the captive audience, and Guma's down 2. An ace for G2.
A G2 Baron.
You said it in game 1, Kobe. G2 great at fighting.
The Orianna ball moves in towards the bush, then sets up for that big shockwave as well. And it's after that, again, just moving back, buying space here as BB.
They can get so many rewards. Tier 2 tower doesn't stand a chance. That's another 800 gold for the team, immediately picked up. Void Mites from their 6 Void Grubs spotting out.
Faker being forced back to the fountain, has the flash, has the TP, but G2 are trying to open up the base. Owner looking for that flank. His GA not back off cooldown yet, about half the way forward. Inhibitor tower and inhibitor for G2 in the top lane. They take a gold lead for the first time.
This top side trying to shove in. They sent Ari to try and help him out, so looking to go for that cross map. Just G2 though, dropping, only playing off of 2 waves. Now the recently
providing so much threat. So we'll see here. You even have another stasis built by Hansama. It's just so durable for G2. They're just bullying them.
Solar Flare, Hansama dodges, only gets slowed. Broken Blade goes in with an arm only onto Owner. Zeus is TP'd in behind, and he dives onto Hansama immediately. And Hansama has a stopwatch, but he doesn't have much life left afterwards. He manages to get away with the killer instinct, and Mickey and Caps are only down. Owner face plants the wall this time. Broken Blade left it to his own devices, and T1 clean him up. The flash in from Zeus with a counter-strike. Mickey trying to dredge line his way out of this one, but Faker's on the chase, as is Carrier. And Mickey, those hooks are sending you to Davy Jones's locker. Faker will take it. T1 will take the fight.
Mickey is gone 6 feet under, but G2 cannot fathom how T1 have got in behind them so consistently. It was a delay played on the TP. It's a delay take on Mickey because 50 seconds until Dragon will deny a lot of control to G2. But T1 again,
look at him.
You can see Mickey's only just getting off towards where the red buff is. The paranoia comes out. It's Guma that secures the Drake. They're looking up towards the top side. Zeus caught out with the paranoia, gets the counter-strike, but there's the fear as well. The killer instinct coming in from Hansama as they look to catch out Zeus. The rest of T1 trying to come back to defend their top laner, but Zeus will be down before they can get there. G2 find one. They lost the Drake, they lost the soul, they go mid, Kobe. They can hear your call. G2 knocking on the doors of the Nexus now is T1 trying to defend.
Shockwave is still up and available for Caps. You have to be so careful as T1 as you try to defend this. How much do G2 want to try and take super minions on the top side as well?
It's so big. 3 inhibitors here. You're gonna
get into this pit, and he might be able to snipe this away. The curtain's open. An encore for Guma Yushi. Owner gets into it! And he takes it! Owner will pay the ultimate price for his ability to steal the Baron. He keeps T1 in the game. The tankiness the minions get from the Baron buff, they'll be spawning in a few seconds time for T1. There they are. They'll help them defend. Faker goes in. Death charge. Shockwave! There's 2 knocked up, but Zeus is already on the back line. The Gnar coming out from Broken Blade as well. Zeus is doing so much work. Caps down. Hansama running for his life. Faker charms up Broken Blade. Zeus is just ripping through G2. Faker survives on the backline. Yike trying to do everything he can. The paranoia will help him take out his enemy jungler.
Zeus now stepping forward. Nobody willing to hit him. G2 push back.
Behind is Faker. He's looking for the Spirit Rush. It's up in a second's time. Faker's met by Yike. Mickey on the front line. The Shockwave going out as well. Broken Blade lands the Gnar, but doesn't get a stun onto anyone, and G2 disengage. He's going to match the supers pushing in the top side. G2 have control of the river right now. Solar Flare, Hansama only slowed. But Caps is the one they dive into and immediately assassinate him. Caps is swimming with the fishes, and Hansama is going to join him. T1 immediately pounce, and G2 don't know what hit him.
T1 are forever clutch.
Can you do it? We saw you steal one versus Hanwha live. He puts the Dustbringer over the wall and immediately backs away.
Onto Caps' head, even with these defensive items we keep pointing out for G2, the Guardian Angel and Sterix for Yike, the double
title.
A minute left on this Elder Dragon as well means that 2 more waves that you have to try and hold off. But I don't even know if you get that. Team 1 can just start to look at Nexus turrets off this wave.
It's got to be something miraculous. You've got a GA on Guma Yushi, you've got Faker with the Spirit Rush, the curtain's open. I don't think G2 is getting a second act. The dive onto the backline by Yike, but immediately he is low. Caps already assassinated on the back, and T1 are just ripping them to shreds. T1 absolutely melting G2 under their Nexus towers. History doesn't repeat itself, but it damn well rhymes. It's another Friday. It's another T1 win.
And welcome back to the stage for this interview with Zeus after a commanding performance from T1 against G2 Esports, I have Jisun, of course, to help me with the translator. Songri 축하드립니다. Thank you so much for joining me after this series. 2-0. I feel like everyone was hyped about this matchup. People even talk about a rivalry between G2 and T1. Would you say that it's a rivalry, and what was the excitement for you guys playing against them?
오늘 많은 분들이 정말 기대한 경기였는데 2대0 깔끔하게 승리하셨습니다. 또 이제 많은 팬분들이 T1, G2, G2, T1의 라이벌리에도 관심 많이 갖고 계신데 제우스 선수도 양 팀 간의 라이벌리가 존재한다고 생각하시는지 그리고 오늘 경기 많이 기대하고 오셨나요?
네, 일단 G2가 19년도에 T1을 떨어뜨리기도 했고 그래서 저도 항상 복수한다는 마음가짐으로 임하는 것 같고요. 그리고 확실히 대회에서 좀 더 뭔가 말하지 못할 그런 마력 같은 게 있는 것 같아서 까다로운 것 같습니다.
Well, G2 knocked T1 out in 2019, so I was coming here looking for a revenge here. And G2, every time, there's something with them that I cannot really put in words, but something makes it really difficult to play against.
It is always a special matchup for you guys and for the fans. Zeus, how would you rate your performance today?
오늘 본인의 경기력은 어떻게 평가하고 싶으신가요?
사실 요새 탑라이너가 경기력을 보여줄 만한 게 교전이랑 한타 정도가 좀 많은 것 같은데 좀 교전이나 한타에서 아쉬운 부분이 많았던 것 같고 그리고 뭐랄까 두 판 다 초중반에 좀 더 이득 볼 수 있었을 것 같은데 잘 안 돼서 그걸 좀 팀적으로 다시 돌려봐야 될 것 같습니다.
These days, all top laners can kind of display and showcase as skirmish and team fights, but today I feel like in both games, my team fights and skirmishes were not ideal. I think I left a lot to be desired, so I think I have to work on it. And
All right.
also in both games as well, I think we could have pushed a little further in the early games, so I think as a team we have to rewatch the VODs and talk about it.
I see. It is interesting given the fact that people talk about T1 at Worlds, regardless of the fact that playoffs were not the greatest for you guys. You always show up at Worlds. You always defy the expectations. Do you feel like Worlds is special for you? And how do you explain the fact that you always can bounce back?
그리고 많은 분들이 T1에 대해서 이야기할 때 사실은 뭐 정규 시즌이나 플레이오프에서 최고의 기량을 보여주지 못했더라도 월즈만 오면 정말 다시 한번 회복해서 정말 표현할 수 없는 그런 슈퍼 파워를 보여주면서 놀라운 경기력을 보여주시는데 월즈에서 T1은 언제나 이런 특별한 힘을 갖는다고 생각하시는지 그리고 언제나 이렇게 바운스백 할 수 있는 원동력은 무엇이라고 생각하시나요?
일단 정규나 시즌에서 좀 안 좋은 모습을 보였던 거는 여러 이유가 있고 그냥 좀 안 좋은 것들도 많이 겹쳤다고 생각해서 아무래도 선수들도 좀 그럴 때는 잘 넘겨서 그냥 롤드컵 때는 진짜 전력을 다할 수 있는 환경도 갖춰져 있고 다들 선수들도 엄청 치열하게 얘기하면서 잘 하기 때문에 더 그런 것 같아요.
Yeah, sometimes we have some bad things happening throughout the regular season. Same thing happened this season as well. I think it was a collaboration of everything really bad for us, but we all know that we can just move on and also focus on Worlds entirely. So we were able to give our all here, and we always have a lot of communication about it.
And focusing on Worlds and the next step, we will see you guys in the next stage. Last year was about being the last seed of the LCK, fighting in Korea to finally get the victory. What is this Worlds about for you personally?
이제 8강에 진출하셨고 작년 서사는 이제 T1이 유일하게 남은 LCK 이제 팀으로서 4강부터 달려나가는 그런 이야기가 있었잖아요. 올해는 T1 어떤 서사를 또 그리고 있을까요?
일단 서사는 사실 그냥 열심히 살다 보면은 팬분들이나 아니면 환경이 잘 만들어 주시는 것 같고요. 중요한 거는 이제 사실 강한 팀이 워낙 많다 보니까 사실 누굴 만나도 다들 너무 경계가 많이 되는 것 같고 개인적으로도 질 뻔한 경기도 꽤 있었다고 상황을 좀 있었다고 생각해서 좀 잘 보완해야 될 것 같습니다.
I mean, storylines, narratives are not something that we write, you
Of
know?
course.
It's going to be completed once we just do our best, and it's going to be completed by the fans and, by the environment. So we're just going to keep on focusing our own performance. And I think there were a lot of moments where we almost lost the games as well throughout the run so far. So I think we still have to do our best.
Let's write a new page in history then. 인터뷰 감사합니다. Thank you so much,
감사합니다.
Zeus. Thank you so much, Jisun, for the translation as well. And T1's advance to the next round.